Hi Libra, your July 2023 reading. A big month for you. The lunations this month, the full moon in Capricorn and the new moon in Cancer later on in the month, are square to your Libra placements. So there's going to be a little bit more activation and pressure for you to release what no longer serves and initiate some new beginnings in your life this month. The south node of our collective and personal karmic past is going to move into Libra on the 18th of July. This is a pretty big transit for Libra peeps. So this is going to be a real push over the next 18 months for you, for your Libra placements, for that area of life where Libra is in your chart, to essentially let go of what hasn't been serving for a really long time so that you can activate your destiny in a bigger way over the next 18 months. Let's see what's coming through on the tarot. I'll show you what cards are coming out, and once I have the spread completed, we'll get right into it. The Ten of Wands in reverse. There's a bit of being taken advantage here, and this seems to be a recent theme for you. Overworked, underpaid, exploited, even being used. The Moon card. What else have we got? The Hermit. But you're wise to it all now, which is a good thing. Okay, we've got the Two of Wands. We have the Seven of Wands too. So the wand energy is fire. So we're seeing a lot of major arcana cards plus fire. That's it. So this is a real sense of urgency for you to change certain dynamics. I think that there's something quite unhealthy in your life. The ways you're being treated, it just doesn't seem fair. Justice, speaking of not being fair, you're here, Libra, in your energy to right some wrongs. I see you being like this righteous biatch this month, if I'm honest with you. Okay, we have the Nine of Swords, and we also have got the King of Wands. Who's the fire sign in your life, or where is this fiery energy coming from within you? It seems to be super important that you initiate, act, or assert yourself this month and say, I kind of get the impression that you're saying no more. We also have the Eight of Coins, and finally I've got the Two of Cups. Great, so we still have some room for romance and love and affection this month. Upright, the Ten of Wands illustrates the weight that you're carrying, okay? The heaviness and density on your spirit, on your soul, and sometimes even on your physical body. You may be in a position this month to let go of some of this. I think that's what the Ten of Wands in its reversal, being the first card out, is suggesting. Some of what you're holding on to, some of the tension, some of the secrets, some of the stress and the heaviness can actually be surrendered. Delegate this month. You may be handing over some responsibility to another. You may be realizing that this is not your cross to bear all alone, Libra. And I feel like the theme of the month of July is you recognizing what you desperately need to let go of in order to cultivate more freedom in your life, more happiness. And if any of these burdens or the weight of these issues and obligation, duty, if it's actually having a negative ramification on your physical health, it's going to be a really good cue for you to let go and release. There's another way of looking at this. Of course, you could be taken advantage of in a job. That could be what this is. You could be overworked, underpaid. You could be forced, or at least, feeling coerced or pressured into saying yes to every hour, every project, every piece of work that comes up, everything under the sun. You are obliged to say yes. Of course, you could have massive family obligations where you have a sense of an enormous amount of duty and responsibility. This, of course, could come with secrets, though. Sometimes we feel the weight of something like a lie. We can be holding a secret in. We can also, with the Moon card, be holding on to the weight of certain addictions, or the sort of sense with the Moon card is that you're not able to, well, at least you perceive you're not able to let some of this go or bring it out into the light from the dark because of the nature of it being as if, you know, it's going to hurt other people, or there's a secretiveness here. There has been perhaps for some of you lies or going against your own moral compass, and that's what's feeling like, you know, a pressure for you now. So there's secrets and lies, or one or the other, which could be represented by the moon card, a little bit of illusion or deception. There's a few ways that that can come to light. We can take our power back. We can basically be the person who directs what way this is going to come to light, or we can wait for it to happen to us. And then that might only sort of feed into some sort of a victim storyline that we could live in a little bit, where we kind of could say things like, oh, it's so unfair, this always happens. So there is a little bit of an element of you taking the lead on this, and if there has been something that's been untruthful, or that there is a secret that perhaps even like it's not even your own secret, and this isn't advice to like share anyone else's secrets, but there is a need for you to unburden yourself from something this month. And the moon card being as a challenge to this, it could be because, you know, there is something about it that hasn't seen the light of day yet, and there is something of a hidden nature around what has been troubling you. And it's annoying because you're searching for answers, you're searching for wisdom and truth. And the Hermit card is here in your most conscious part of the reading, telling me that you are seeking wisdom this month. In turn, Libra, you want to be seen as this kind of wise counsel for others, and you want to be somebody that can be relied upon to be somebody who can share truth or guidance or wisdom. But I'm hearing hypocrisy. This would be showing up for those who are sadly carrying the weight of some sort of a pressure that's coming from a web of lies or something that's in the dark, that's still hidden. Then it's difficult for you to give the advice that would be in highest and best if you're not also walking the talk. You know, you want to make sure that how you're living and how you're living and breathing in integrity and being honest with people, because then, you know, that's eliminating any hypocrisy if you're giving advice but not actually taking it. Alternatively, for those of you that aren't caught up in anything that's got any sort of subterfuge or hidden element or secrets or anything like that, what could be seen here is that you are feeling some sort of an obligation, and it's fueling your wisdom because you are taking the lead here, even though it's difficult and the pressure feels like it's on you at the moment. It almost seems like around the 3rd or 4th of July, Libra, you get to delegate, hand over, pass on some of the obligation or sense of responsibility and heavy duty and all that you've been lifting and carrying to somebody else, to somebody who is also wise like you, to somebody who's more informed about something. So this could be looking at experts or professionals that, you know, you just hire to help you with something. And I feel like those of you who are carrying the weight of responsibility, or who are feeling actually a little bit taken advantage of, some of you are going to feel taken advantage of because you've been told something by somebody else, like a secret, that now you feel the pressure to keep. And so I feel like some of you are internalizing a lot this month, and the Hermit card can be a little solitary and even feel isolated. So be mindful of the tendency to withdraw too far into yourself, into your inner world. Sometimes that's a really good thing, but just because of the nature of the moon card here, I see the shadow aspect just automatically being highlighted in the Hermit card, where because of the pressures and from the external, you decide to retreat. And, you know, who knows when we're going to see you again, Libra. You know, get yourself back into the world. Even if you're getting yourself into the world, you don't have to be going to a party, you don't have to be like in a major social setting or anything like that, but just not shying away or hiding out for too long, because I feel like there is a little tendency to want to do that this month. And this has come up for you before, okay? The Two of Wands is in your subconscious part of the reading. This could even be from a past life. You've been faced with a decision. You're at a crossroads, and the times that this crossroads has appeared for you in a past life, you haven't always made the right choice. In this lifetime, you may be remembering a crossroads that you were at before in your life, or a decision to either go somewhere, stay somewhere, select an option, or decide to either move on from or move away from something else, or go towards something else, I should say. And you might actually, on reflection now, feel like that wasn't the right choice at the time. You maybe made a decision, again, under duress, the pressure of the Ten of Wands. This is not always going to be the best place to make a decision from. Pressure, coercion, force, or a sense of like, you were threatened even in a sense, like, oh, you better do this, or make sure you do this, your job is on the line, your reputation, whatever it was. What has actually happened through that, let's call it mistake, from this lifetime, another lifetime, it's in your subconscious. So it's just something that's been remembered at this time. As you navigate the current situation, your subconscious mind is drawn back to a time where you were presented with an option. And the thing about this is, it says at the time you actually had a choice, but it just seemed to be a little bit hidden for you, the Moon card. There was a deception there. There was some sort of an illusion that there was no choice, okay? And that's fear that comes through then, the illusion of fear. And you feeling like, at the time, or at least thinking at the time, that you didn't have a choice. What that has done for you now in your conscious motivation is the Hermit card. Now you're much wiser, and you are not going to suffer the same fools or the same BS or the weird advice or pressure anymore, because now you have kind of evolved and seen things from a different point of view. You have went within and trusted in that inner voice and allowed yourself to be the supreme authority in your life, rather than like listening to any petty tyrants or people like these Seven of Wands, people that are challenging you, people that back you into a corner or attempt to leave you with no other choice. These are external manifestations of a part of our psyche. So they are just created like a petty tyrant, an overbearing mother, a manager that just is on your back, or some sort of a figure in the patriarchy who wants to make you think that you're limited. So whatever you see, this external manifestation of somebody who's there to kind of make you feel backed into a corner, pressured, well, take it as some sort of a signal that from within you're being asked to step into a little bit more of a stronger sense of self, and to realize that actually there is no other authority over you, Libra, and anything that presents itself to be an authority over you is merely an illusion. So the Seven of Wands. This is coming up in the recent past. We have had Mars in the sign of Leo here all through June. So I believe this could have come up for you sometime in June. And this seems to be an energy that's wrapping up around the 11th and 12th of July, when Mars leaves the sign of Leo and heads to Virgo. So you've been dealing with an issue over the last 4 weeks. It's set to still be in your life for the next 2 weeks or so, until around the 11th or 12th, where you've really had to feel like you have to prove yourself to somebody. I actually see it as being a friend, or a rival maybe, or a friend that is a rival. It seems like you've had this kind of push, or this kind of I don't know, you've been either backed into a corner, or people are testing you, or you have this kind of need to basically prove yourself. I think proving yourself came up in your past reading, in the June reading. I'll link that below. And I think that that's actually an energy that's leaving pretty soon. So proving yourself came up quite a lot in the June 2023 reading for Libra. I like to see that this battle of wits, or need to prove yourself, to other people, is an energy that's actually leaving the reading. What else would I say about this? Recently you feel challenged. Recently you feel like you have to prove yourself for whatever reason. It also feels like you've been required to show your strength, your stamina, your determination. Recently you maybe have been put in the spotlight, like, you know, there's a microphone in front of you, Libra. How do you feel about this? Where do you stand on this issue? Tell us your thoughts. And it's kind of like, wait up, like, why do I need to do that? I mean, you should of course be wary about like shape shifting or conformity with the Seven of Wands, but I kind of feel like you're not doing the conformity thing anymore, and there is a little more bravery. It takes a lot of bravery in this day and age to speak out against the consensus state of affairs, and it's becoming increasingly more and more difficult. But as you awaken to your inner voice, your inner wisdom, and that guiding light, I think it's going to be easier and easier for you. But you have been caught up with some sort of bullshit and the Moon card, like you have been deceived. You maybe have even fed into that and kind of deceived yourself, feeling like a bit more righteous, I guess. I think that you are more inspirational around the 17th, 18th. Justice, we're talking about fairness. So some of you are going to have to speak out against some sort of an inequality, some sort of this deception, you know, that some of you are really going to feel the call to say, like, we as a collective are not being treated fairly, or you may actually have to advocate for somebody in your workplace, somebody in your family or in your personal life, somebody that has been unfairly treated. You decide to kind of advocate for them. The Justice card also tells me that there is more decision making to happen in the month of July. It's going to be something that you're getting a second chance at, because like I said about these Two of Wands, you already have been presented with many choices in your life and you haven't always made the right choice, or this could be a past life that you're remembering. And what's happening here now is this is quite a karmic card. So you're actually been getting a chance now. It's come up on your soul contract on this part of your journey that you get to remake those decisions, I guess, or you get to basically make another choice and you get to decide what your consequences are going to be. The choices that you're making should not be from any place of deception, illusion, or pressure, or duress, or coercion. You want to make choices that are going to be in highest and best for you, especially because the Justice card says the weight of these choices that you make this month are going to have long-term consequences. So you want to make sure those consequences are going to serve you and your highest good and the highest good of those around you. Justice card. You don't have to justify your decisions to anybody else though. And that's where I'm seeing like this energy of having to prove yourself being left in the past finally now. It's an energy you've been working with for like May and June. And now you're kind of feeling like you don't have to carry the weight of something pretty heavy anymore because new wisdom has been unlocked. And for some of you, you're actually speaking the truth. And for some of you, the Hermit card is representing another wise counsel or source that is taking the lead or taking on some of that responsibility for you, so you don't have to be the sole person to bear the weight of this cross. But the Justice card, I get the impression that like this is like this righteousness, right? It reminds me of like some knight, the way they're dressed, like that's like advocating for truth, speaking up against intolerance, injustices, and it seems like really brave and courageous of you. The decisions you're making are not for the faint-hearted, but you're not faint-hearted as you step more and more into your Libran energy of like advocacy, diplomacy, doing the right thing. It isn't always easy to do the right thing. So we do have the relationship section of this reading coming up towards the end of the month, where something to do with romance, love, and connection is coming through in a bigger way. I do have a reading on love and relationships, which is just going to focus on those themes. That's going to be linked below in the description box. if you want to check that out, if that's something your focus is a little bit more towards, I do recommend that. It's an exclusive piece of content on my Patreon. But as we end the month of July, an important relationship is coming into your life. I get the impression that this is a relationship that's really easy. It's a very free flowing and natural relationship, and it's quite romantic for the most part, and I don't necessarily see this as something platonic or familial. I feel like a relationship that some of you have been like reviewing for a while, hemming and hawing over, becomes more decided upon. We have 2 2s in the reading plus the Justice card. This is an indication that the choices you're making at the moment, the options that you have, the promises that you're making other people have consequences. The power of your words are continuously magnified at this time. I think that came up in your previous reading too. The 2 of Cups, I should say. This speaks to a promise that's made between 2 people that maybe be in love. This is a promise to honor one another. I see honor being such a key word for you this month, and I feel like anybody who is dealing with something legal, like anything that's contractual, marriages, maybe deeds to a house, maybe a court case, maybe some sort of something that's being filed at the moment for you that's in the courts, or you're dealing with legal representation or important paperwork and notaries and all those other kind of concepts. I feel like it's going to go really well for you because these scales in this version of Justice are completely balanced. So this denotes positive dealings and negotiations in terms of your legal affairs or any sort of business partnerships. Any kind of relationships. Libra is the sign of relationships. So your relationships are really harmonious this month. And the 2 of Cups represents a promise, a pact, an agreement, or maybe even a vow. The vow definitely came up in your last month's reading. And that's, I think, why we were talking about your words being so important, actually, now that's starting to ring a bell for me. I think that this is continuously honored, and there is just a beautiful understanding between you and the person that either comes into your life around the end of the month that is a kind of new relationship possibility, the 2 of Cups, or maybe that this is a person that's already in your life and they've told you they were going to show up for you or be there for you or honor this relationship. The relationship just seems to become more and more important, more and more of a focus. Your focus is going towards love and relationships towards the end of the month. This could signal a really happy and positive time for you and your romantic relationship, or you may notice something coming into your life in a bigger way. For those of you who are noticing the new start of a relationship, I think that this is somebody that isn't just coming in out of the blue. I actually think you've been reflecting on this as a possibility for quite some time now. So the highest self is coming through with a kind of interesting card, the 9 of Swords. So I see this like creepy hand coming through. So your highest self is asking you to examine your fears and go really deep with them this month. You're in a position to be able to do that. If you can admit to yourself that you were in any way allowing yourself to be taken advantage of, exploited, or if you have been the Moon card energy carrying the weight of a lie or a secret that you've been hiding in terms of something that's quite shameful, because the 9 of Swords is about shame and guilt. If you're brave enough to look at your inner shadow, the external shadow is not even going to cost you another thought. If the looking at the inner shadow is way more daunting than looking at the shadow in the collective, because our inner demons, our traumas, our guilt, and our perceived less desirable parts of ourselves are the most scary things that can come up in a lifetime. Once you look at the shadow within, it's going to help you look at the shadow in the collective and not be in any more denial. And that's really brave, Libra. So your Justice card energy, your highest self with the 9 of Swords is saying, look at those fears, look at that shadow and embrace it. Go a little bit deeper with it. The King of Wands, people in your environment are really inspiring this month. It's great. And you are who you surround yourself with. This also came up in your last month's reading. It's funny, I'm just remembering all of this now. But the King of Wands is the environment card. This shows people that are here to motivate you. You could also find new business dealings and business connections coming in. Justice card is about those contracts and business meetings and partnerships coming through this month. So the King of Wands could be somebody who you link up with in terms of work or partnerships or creative endeavors. It could also look like a boss or a figure of authority in your life that doesn't make you feel small or doesn't make you feel less than. They actually lift you up and like help you progress towards your goal. So the people that come into your life this month are way less of those who back you into a corner, who nearly make you prove something, who pressure you, who kind of gang up on you, or like basically I don't know, I feels like there's been people you've been dealing with recently who want to knock you off your pedestal, who want to take your confidence down a notch. The people that actually come through more and more as we enter into Leo season, specifically after the 23rd of July, you might be noticing these are the people that are the complete opposite, who want you to shine more, who want you to come out of your shell more, who want you to be elevated up to a position of leadership, of being seen as to be a very like respected person in your community, to be like strong and commanding, and they want this for you, so they're going to help you get there. The Eight of Coins, you have a fear at the moment that you're letting work fall by the wayside. You also have a hope to pick up an old project again now this month. So that's a little bit of a mix of both. I think you've let something fall by the wayside recently due to whatever personal reasons or professional reasons or just life getting in the way, I suppose. And now you are fearful that you'll never get back to it, but at the same time that's encouraging you to kind of identify that you've been missing doing that, and now you're going to pick up that hobby or that project or that focus in terms of what you've been working on, or another career goal at the moment in this month ahead too. And the Two of Cups, again, romance seems to be more of a focus towards the end of the month. It sees you reflecting on a relationship. It sees a significant period of like your love life being something that's the main priority or focus for you. Again, I'll link your specific love and relationship reading down below so that you can go a little bit deeper with that. Consider subscribing to this channel. Consider leaving a comment if you thought that this resonated. If it doesn't resonate, I'd love to hear from you either way. I like to read those comments, and of course like this video if it appealed to you. Take care, Libra. Have a great month ahead, and I'll see you soon.